I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, the organization. They're embracing a Marxist anarchist organization that is extremely well funded, heavily funded, and extremely well organized all over the country.
皆さん、こんにちは。これからの動画で話をする人は、アメリカの有名な保守派学者、マーク・レービンです。彼は今年、アメリカのマルクス主義という本を出版しました。その本はアメリカでかなり販売されたことから、今の一部のアメリカの国民は、アメリカで起きていることがおかしいと思い始めて、その原因を探っていることがわかります。その本にはとても重要な話が書かれてますので、ぜひどこかで皆さんに紹介したいと思います。その時、彼をもっと詳しく紹介するようにします。今回の動画は2020年6月の動画です。フロイド事件が起きた後、アメリカ全国で BLM をサポートする抗議活動が起きました。場所によって程度が違いますが、ひどいところで大きな破壊活動が起きました。当時、主流メディアはそれを繰り返し報道して、それは言論の自由だと言って、破壊活動を擁護しました。BLM はリベラルに乗っ取られた組織という言い方もありますが、それは正しくないです。BLM はアメリカの人権問題を利用した共産主義組織です。このチャンネルを見ている多くの方は、今回の動画に出る BLM の創始者の一人が、自分たちはマルクス主義者だと発言したことを知っていると思います。それを知っていても、実際にどんな感じで話をしたかを聞いたことがある人は少ないと思います。今回の動画はマーク・レーベンがその発言に対してコメントをした動画です。
This is very, very important. One of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, her name is Patrisse Cullors, C-U-L-L-O-R-S, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I've told you that this is a Marxist, anarchist, anti-Semitic group. And that is exactly what it is. And so when people say, I stand with Black Lives Matter, or the mayor, Bowser of Washington, D.C. has that painted in massive way on a street where you can see it from space across from the White House. When these politicians are embracing now Black Lives Matter, I'm not talking about lowercase b, lowercase l, lowercase m. I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, the organization. They're embracing a Marxist anarchist organization that is extremely well funded, heavily funded, and extremely well organized all over the country. And it's almost like the Weather Underground, except smartly what they've embraced is race as the issue through which to push their Marxism.
ここでウェザーアンダーグラウンドという名前が出ました。多くの人はこの組織の名前を聞いたことがないと思います。この組織は1969年にミシガン大学で設立された極左組織です。この組織はアメリカを破壊してアメリカで共産主義を進めることを目標にした組織です。彼らはアメリカで数回爆発などの暴力活動を行った後、アメリカの FBI に国内テロリスト組織と認定されました。1977年に解散しました。なぜここでこの組織について紹介したかというと、BLM とウェザーアンダーグラウンドの間に深いつながりがあります。今回の動画に出てきた BLM の創始者、パトリス・カラーズは、ウェザーアンダーグラウンドの元メンバーが立ち上げた環境・人種関連の組織で訓練を受けたからです。また、他のウェザーアンダーグラウンドの元メンバーも BLM の運動をサポートしてきました。ですので、BLM は社会主義者が人種というカバーをかぶった共産主義組織と言われています。
When Marx says, do it any way you have to. It's why you see the environmental movement in many ways also borrows from Marx. The immigration movement also borrows from Marx. But in this case, these are trained Marxists, as she's about to tell you, and they are using race basically as a vessel through which to advance a Marxist revolution. They're for revolution. All right, let's take a look. Go.
I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Stop. We are trained Marxists. We're trained Marxists. So what I've been saying, probably for years now, is true. They're not hiding it. It used to be part of their mission statement. Their anti-Semitism, the BDS, they're not hiding it. Israel's an apartheid society. They're not hiding these things. Go.
We are super versed on sort of ideological theories, and I think that what we really try to do is build a movement that could be utilized by many, many Black folk.
We're building a movement that can be used by many Black folk, but it's not just for Black folk. They're building a Marxist movement within the United States, and they are succeeding because of all the efforts of people to project their own attitudes and their own interests on top of it. Some of them are doing it unwittingly, but some are not. I mean, you actually have multi-millionaire in one case, and LeBron James, a billionaire athlete, was embracing a Marxist movement. And he's not the only one. Now you have Drew Brees doing it. As you'll see later, you have Brett Favre doing the same thing. It's a remarkable thing. Now let's take a look at CNN the other day, just a few days ago, also with Patrisse Cullors. It's spelled Cullors. I believe it's Colors. I'm not certain of it. And she's on with Jake Tapper, and you're going to see how utterly uninformed Jake Tapper is. Go.
Heard a lot of criticism of former Vice President Joe Biden from civil rights activists. The election obviously will be a choice. How do you think Biden matches up compared to President Trump when it comes to these issues that are important to you?
Let's stop a second. First thing a real journalist would do is inquire of her organization about it, right? There have been these reports about this. There's been these reports about that. Can you confirm or deny? What is your organization, its ideological position? What is your end game? What is your goal? Are you seeking to overthrow the country, whatever? And many BLM members say yes. So his audience, Jake Tapper, by the time they're done, they're going to remain extraordinarily ignorant of what's going on here because he doesn't press her. Go.
Well, hands down, Trump not only needs to not be in office in November, but he should resign now.
But Trump should resign because she says so. I don't know how this goes on. We're going to play it. But notice, they're all going to vote Democrat. That's what they're going to do, right, Mr. Producer? They're all going to vote Democrat. This is kind of the Marxist wing of the Democrat Party. Let's stop fooling ourselves. That's why these ultra left-wing Democrat mayors, whether it's Seattle, Minneapolis, New York, they're not coming down on the rioters. They're not coming down on people who are conducting themselves the way they are and against the police. They're not, because this is, believe it or not, this is a piece of the base of the Democrat Party now. Go.
Out of office, he is not fit for office. And so what we are going to push for is a move to get Trump out, while we're also going to continue to push and pressure Vice President Joe Biden around his policies and relationship to policing and criminalization. That's going to be important. But our goal is to get Trump out.
Now stop. And he's just sitting there, and he's going, So it's a Marxist anarchist movement that has as its goal to overthrow the country and to get Trump out. To think about that. Go.
Thank you so much for joining us on this important day, and happy Juneteenth again to you.
Happy Juneteenth.
Coming up.
Unbelievable, don't you think? I think it's really quite pathetic.
今回の動画はここまでになります。この創始者は今年の4月に4件の豪邸を購入したことが報道されました。そのうち小型の飛行機が入るガレージ付きの豪邸もあります。本当の共産主義者ならそんなものはいらなかったはずです。そのことが公開された後、BLM 内部で彼女を反対する声、財産の公開を求める声、BLM の会計の公開を求める声が上がりました。その後、彼女は個人の理由で辞任したことは不動産のことと関係ないと言いましたが、どう考えても不動産のことで BLM の上層部に居づらくなったと考えられます。彼女が辞任しても多くのアメリカ人が覚醒して BLM の本質を理解しない限り BLM 運動はこれからも継続します。マーク・レイビンが書いた本を紹介する動画も出しますので、その紹介を聞いた後、この動画を見返すと理解がさらに深まると思います。これからもこのような話をしていきますので、 ご興味がある方は、ぜひフォロー、コメント、拡散をお願いします。また、このチャンネルを応援していただける方は、ぜひメンバーシップもご検討ください。では、また次回お会いしましょう。ハラノタイムズがお届けしました。